Let's dive into Koda's training so we can stay consistent at home. So we're going to reward Koda when he does the right commands or behaviors when we ask him to increase the rate of those behaviors. We're also going to use these training tools to correct when he makes a mistake or doesn't listen to our commands or does something inappropriate. That way we can decrease the rate of that behavior. So let's dive into his remote collar. So how to turn on the collar. This has a magnetic key on the collar itself. So it's right here on the right hand side. The matching dot to turn on the collar is on the remote itself. So it's a magnetic key on the remote. You can see the matching red dot right there. We have to touch these two together to activate the magnet and to turn on the remote. You will see a green light flash. So let's do that real quick. Touch, green light. The green light will flash every few seconds to let you know that the collar's on, charged, and ready to go. I like this feature because it's not a button, so Koda can't like scratch and accidentally turn the collar off. So it will stay on until it dies or until you shut it off. So how to turn the remote on. There's a physical button in the back. You have to turn them on separately. They don't just automatically both turn on if you turn one on. So on the back here we have the on-off button. We have to push and hold that until the screen lights up and you can see the level 25 on the screen. So the on-off button turns the remote on, the magnet turns the collar on. So we're going to focus on using the black S button when we're working with Koda. When we need to correct the behavior or he didn't listen and made a mistake, no, correction, give the command. So that's how the correction is going to work. We mark the incorrect behavior with a verbal no, so that's telling him, hey, you made a mistake, here's your correction, and then you give the command again so you can set him up for success. Because just because he makes a mistake doesn't mean it's the end of the world. However, he does need to understand that you have boundaries and you're going to follow through with your commands. So we're going to pretend that my hand here is Koda. And we're working on loose leash walking. So the command for that is heel. Heel means walk next to me on a loose leash. If he tries to walk too fast and pull ahead, because it means walk next to us on the loose leash, or if he tries to go to the left or sniff or do anything other than walk next to us on a loose leash, you're going to say no, push the black S button, and give the command heel. So you'll see when I push the button, my thumb actually twitches. No, heel. What this is, it's an electric muscle stimulator. So it will stimulate the muscle to give a quick correction, and then you move on and ask him to do the command correctly. So no, command. So whenever you take Koda on a walk, it should be 90-10. 90% of the time he's at a heel walking next to you, and then the 10% you would tell him free, which is the release command to go sniff, go explore, walk at the end of the leash. But again, it's 90-10. So 90% heel, 10% freedom. So good heel. When you reward with the left hand. So you can hold the leash however you want. What I like to do is have the remote in my right hand, and then I like to grab the leash with my right pinky so that my left hand can give a treat, and then my left hand can go back to holding the loose leash. That way it doesn't drop on the ground, he doesn't step on it, but we want to encourage the behavior by rewarding it. Good heel with a treat. Next we have sit. Sit means stay until he's told free or heel, so the stay is implied. You don't have to go sit, stay, stay. You don't have to do that. You just tell him sit, and then you give little reminders. So like if I have him sit and I want to walk around him, I just remind him sit a few times as I'm walking around. Good sit, and then I can tell him free to release or heel to then go into the heel command. Same thing with doors. Have him sit, open the door, tell him free or heel to walk through the threshold of the door together. So that's sit, stay. If he gets up or doesn't sit when you call him or tell him to, no, correction, sit. And then when he does, good sit, and move on with whatever you were working with. Next we have down. So that's lay down and stay. It's not get off from jumping. It's down means lay all the way down. If he has trouble with it, you have two options. You have the remote option. You also have the prong collar option, which we're going to talk about real quick. So this goes on in the beginning because he needs a little bit of leash guidance as we're transferring the respect of the training to you guys at home. So he's going to get a little confused and maybe even a little pushy. So we have this to ensure that we can guide him where we want him and need him. So to take this off, you're going to push the front prong. So I'm holding this back prong here steady like this. I grab this prong and I'm just going to push it down and follow the prong. Keep it parallel. Don't try and angle it one way or another. It's not going to come apart. Then I have to squeeze this one together to put it into the prong like so. One more time. Hold steady. Push. It's more about technique than strength. And you just push it down and then squeeze it together. So with the collar, he's wearing this. We attach the leash to the D-ring, so that's the one that can swivel and it has a flat edge. So we're going to pop and release as needed. So to go over heel and sit real quick, if he's in a heel and he goes too forward, we would pop and release up and slightly back. For the sit, it would be up. If he doesn't listen to the command and for some reason you don't have the remote collar in your hand, you can use the leash as well, and you can use them together. For the down, if you tell him down and he doesn't, you just pull slightly to the side and slightly down. You don't have to go all the way to the floor, but let's say you tell him down, which means lay down, and he doesn't, no, tug, down. So it's just a quick flick of the wrist in a slightly downward motion, and then as he lays down, you want to remind him down when you walk away. That way he understands to stay in that position, and you'll hear that in the video as well. You can also use the remote collar. So if he's in the down position and he gets up because of a distraction, no, down. If he just stays there and doesn't quite lay down, you use the collar again to tug the leash downward. So you might have to walk back to him. If you're over here and he's over here and he gets up from the down, walk to him, down, and then go about what you were doing beforehand. Then we want to make sure we always go back to him to release him. This is going to strengthen the down stay. So if we put him in a down and then walk 20 feet away and call him to us, he's going to anticipate that the next time because he gets rewarded for coming to you, not necessarily for staying. So you want to always go back to him, good down, reward, then tell him free or heel to do whatever you want to do next. Then we have place. So that's the same rule for place. Place means stay on this boundary. So when he's on the elevated bed or boundary, he can sit, he can stand, he can lay down, he can do whatever he wants, roll around, but he has to abide by the rules. No barking, no getting off unless he's told free, and no chewing on the actual bed. He can have a chew though if he's going to be on there for a while. So as long as he follows those rules, he will not get a correction. So we walk him to the bed, we tell him place. Whenever you get a reward, or whenever you give him a reward on place, always put the treat on the bed because it helps him understand that the bed is the positive zone. Same thing with down. Whenever he's in the down position, try to reward low. That way when you go to give him a treat, he doesn't try and get up and get it, and then he's going to break the down, and then you'll have to give him a correction. So we don't want to set him up for failure. So put him on place, tell him good place, treat on the bed, and then as distractions happen, we remind him place. That way he understands, oh yeah, I'm supposed to stay here, because stay is implied until he's told free. So if he does a good job, great, no need. But if not, if he tries to get off of the bed before you tell him free, no, correction, place. So no, place, no, place. And then good place, treat on the bed. We don't do that right after a correction, so that kind of seems confusing. But if you have to give him a correction, wait at least 20 to 30 seconds before you give a reward. So let's say you're doing a distraction and he gets off a place, correct him, do that same distraction again as he stays, then you reward the behavior because then he understood the rules and the boundaries with that new distraction. To free him, always go back to the bed, good place, then tell him free. We don't free from a distance because again that starts to kind of interfere with the stay a little bit. Always go back to him, good place, and then tell him free. Next we have come when called. So he's free during this. So he's free to sniff. We have him exploring. We tell him free, go sniff, go do whatever. And then we tell him come in a firm, loud tone. You can say Koda if you want, you don't have to. So it's come as he runs to you. Good boy. We praise that behavior because we want to let him know that that action of coming to us is a positive thing. So we praise that behavior. We have him sit. Then we give him the physical reward. It is really important to reward this command every single time, 10 out of 10 times, because it is a very important command. It's a life-saving command. If he runs towards the road, we can call him back to us. So we want to build that reward history. Reward history is just making sure he has a positive association with doing that behavior or command. So come, good boy, and we take a few steps back because that invites him into our space. That gets him excited. We have him sit, treat, praise, petting party, then we tell him free so he can go explore again, or we can put him on a leash and tell him heel, whatever the case calls for. So he's free, he's sniffing, he's distracted, and then we call him to us. That is come when called. Then we have leave it. Leave it is similar to no, so it gets a correction. If you drop something on the ground, you tell him leave it. If he still goes for it, leave it. You don't have to say no, but you can if you want. No, leave it. When you practice this, practice with dog safe foods first. That way he is experienced. If you're in the kitchen, just practice by dropping a piece of hot dog, leave it, and then give a correction if needed. You might have to practice for the scenario. That way, if you ever drop something dangerous like medicine, he's not gonna just go for it on the ground. So practice, leave it as well. That is pretty much it for his commands. So reward the behaviors you like to see to keep increasing the rate of those behaviors. Use these tools to correct unwanted behaviors. Stay consistent, have fun, and now we're going to show you Koda's commands. Down. Good boy. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good boy. Free. Good job. Leave it. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, he's so nice. Okay. Good job. Good boy. Huh? Leave it. Good boy. Nice choices. Free. Okay. Good job. Free. Place. Good boy. Place. So let's go over the other features of the remote collar. So we know how to turn the remote and the collar on. Let's show you how to turn them off. So the collar, the magnet, right? The remote, the magnet, you just touch them together and you'll see a red light. That means the collar is off, done. This can last probably 2 days on a charge. You can charge it every night, but I wouldn't leave it on the charger overnight because then it'll kind of like wear down the battery. So you want to make sure that you turn it off at night, and then you can charge it like every other day. We'll turn that back on. The remote, the on-off button in the back, same thing. You push and hold it until the screen is dark. We'll push and hold that. Back on. Now, not to confuse you, but the on-off button also has a secondary feature. So instead of pushing and holding it, if you just tap it again, you'll activate the flashlight on his remote collar so you can see him at night. Tap it again to turn it off. Sometimes if you go to turn the remote off and you don't hold it quite long enough, you will activate the flashlight. Just keep that in mind, no big deal. But if the flashlight is on for long periods of time, it will run down the battery of the remote collar. So we have the black S button, that's the main button you're going to use. Then we also have the vibrate button. What I like to do before I put this collar on Koda is when I turn it on, I like to push vibrate a couple of times to make sure the collar is on, charged, ready to go. That way I don't make a mistake of putting a collar that's not on him, and then he'll figure out that your corrections don't have any follow through to them. He'll just think that no is an empty word and it doesn't have any meaning. That's why we say no and then pair it with a correction so he understands that there is meaning to it. So I like to make sure it's on. You can use this as a warning way down the road. You want to stay consistent with the corrections now because you want him to understand that your words mean something, your commands mean what you say. So I wouldn't use it right now, but maybe down the road, 6, 10, 12 months, you can use it as like a, hey, you're doing pretty good, but straighten up. Then we have the red button. It is for emergencies only. So the red button is right below the S button, the black S button. So when I push it, it is going to increase the level by a significant amount. I think by 20. So it's going to go up to a 45. This is an oh no no button. Like he is running towards the road. You've tried calling him. You've corrected with the black button. He's not listening. That's when you hit him with the red button. What happens is sometimes if dogs are overly stimulated by something, their tolerance for discomfort goes up. So we need to match that so he doesn't put himself in a dangerous position. So that is what the boost button is for. Emergencies only if he absolutely needs it. Also, practice with a leash on. Practice with a leash on so that he can get used to the commands. Don't just have him off leash in an unfenced-in area or an open area with no fence because he could potentially just take off. We want to have that safety net of like a 30 to 50 foot long line on him. That way, if he does get a wild hair, he doesn't have anywhere to go. He does have that safety net on him so you can really get familiar with the remote collar and have him get familiar with coming to you when called. So then on the back you have the little M/C button. That stands for momentary or continuous. You don't have to change any of the features, right? It's all set to what it should be right now. Then we have the dial. So the dial changes the levels, but you can see right now that it is locked. So to unlock it, you push down and hold for a few seconds until the 1D is flashing. Then you can turn it down or you can turn it up to a desired level. Why might we need to do this? So right now 25 works well for Koda. Over time, as dogs mature, sometimes they don't need as high of correction levels. So you can adjust it as accordingly. Or if he goes into a distracting environment, he might need a higher level just because he's distracted and level 25 just isn't correcting him like it did at home. So you can unlock it, change it to the level you want. So if 25 is too much, change it down to 20 or 15. If 25 is not enough, you got 30 or 35. Then once you have it set, push down and hold it for a couple of seconds until the 1D is solid, and that locks it into place. So when the 1D is not flashing, it will not adjust. Really helpful feature if you have it in your pocket. Okay, I believe that is all the features. The charging port is on the back here. For the collar, it is underneath. This is fully waterproof, so he can go swimming with this on. He can get wet. It's not going to damage the electronics. Just make sure that little rubber tab is closed so no water gets into the charging port. It is, like I said, waterproof, reaches up to a ½ mile. One key thing is this does have to fit snug so the contact points make good connection to his skin so he can actually feel the collar. If he's wearing it and goes swimming, that's fine, but make sure once he's done and you're putting him up for a little bit to dry, make sure you take the collar off and dry that area thoroughly. Because this fits so snug, he could have water and moisture build in, and then that leads to bacteria, which could be a hot spot. Also, you want to make sure you move the collar once in a while. So a week over here, a week over here. What this will do is prevent a collar spot because it does have to fit snug so it doesn't irritate his skin and lead to, again, bacteria building up or a hot spot. In the box, we have his charger. Charge both at the same time every other day or so. The remote does have a longer lasting battery, but I just charge them at the same time. That way you know they're both charged. This is the original strap that it came with, and then these are the tools to change out for the longer prongs. So like in the winter time when his coat is really thick, I would change to these longer prongs because they'll be able to weave through the hair better. How you do that is with this little tool to loosen the ones that are on it and to tighten those new ones where the little ones are now. At the bottom, instruction manual to go over all the buttons in greater detail. But we've gone over everything, all the features you'll need. And then it does have a 2-year warranty. The contact information is on the box, so I would keep this box handy. We'll turn off his remote collar, push and hold. Oh, there we go. It does take a few seconds. So those are the other features of his remote collar. Just again, practice with a leash on, especially in new environments. Have fun, use treats, reward what you like to keep seeing them, stay consistent, and have fun working with Koda.